Palworld is by far one of the best games to come out at the start of this year. It takes all the great aspects of survival and pet management games and gives it a fresh and very violent new coat of paint. From giant mammoths to foxes you can use as flamethrowers, or as I like to call them, the Foxenwaffe. It's fun and addicting all around, and just like around.So said, it's not a war crime if there is no war. So hopefully this guide helps you get through the first few hours of the game until you beat the very first boss, and is useful for getting to know the basics as well as some small tips and tricks to help you out along the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. When you first create a new save, you have the ability to change some gameplay settings for that specific save file. These include time acceleration, XP rate, player multipliers, and PAL multipliers. You can change all of these settings to suit your gameplay preference and specific style for that session, all of which can be changed after creating your save file. So if there's anything that you think is not to your liking, once you are in the game, you can simply go back to the menu and change it. Very useful for those of you that don't like to grind or wait, because there is some waiting and quite a bit of grinding.
Your ass is like an exotic cricket, your little ugly ass, boy. Tap dancing frog looking ass, boy.
After creating your world and starting your game comes the fun part, creating your own industrial leader. There aren't a whole lot of options for customizations at this time, but it'll probably be expanded upon in the future. However, you can change the body type, face, eyes, colors for skin, hair, and eyes, as well as the limb size for, those of you that like to get a little bit wacky, and your character's voice. So you can make them as manly or as girly as you want. Anybody wants some femboys, you can do that too. It's pretty in-depth.
Pause.
In that regard, very gender fluid here, very progressive.
So you have chosen death.
Once your dictator, wholesome adventurer, arrives at the afterlife, which is short for island, you'll be ready to start enslaving the local wildlife.
What the fuck?
Giving them a good home because they're cute little animals. Come on. This isn't a game about enslaving the locals. This is a Bannerlord.
What does that have to do with it?
No. He's got a point.
You will start at the top of the plateau of beginnings because, it's the beginning.
In the beginning.
Here you can find a survivor, which will give you some supplies and advise you to make a workbench. Because, you need those, apparently. Not to mention, you will find your first few pals here, so it'll be a great way to start acquainting yourself with your future workforce. Slaves. Early on into your slaver career, you will mostly be traveling by foot. However, you can also slide, roll, swim, and climb. And of course glide through the air, because it's like that. Now observe. To slide, you simply need to sprint and press the crouch button. Bonus tip, if you're using a controller, hold down the roll button, which is either circle or B. Should you want to climb, just jump onto the nearest wall, and you'll stick to it like a man with arachnid abilities. And if you're wondering how to glide through the air, you'll need to press the jump button while in mid-air. But in order to even have the option to glide, you will need to make yourself a glider. More on crafting in a moment though.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost.
No.
Papago's Island, which is the setting for all of this, is filled to the brim with things to find. From chests to journal entries to other survivors and even dungeons.
Huh?
The regular kind with monsters and stuff, not those types of dungeons.
Boring.
You can find chests, small towns, caves, and collectibles to help increase your stats, so be sure to keep an eye out and take your time exploring each of the region. Mistake to correct on the previous bit, Exploring and moving around requires stamina. Yes, there is stamina in this game. So for exploration, you'll need stamina in order to climb, glide, slide, all that. So, keep that in mind as well while you're traversing the world trying to find these caves and collectibles. It's pretty basic, but I just thought I'd mention it because, not everybody is an athlete. Thanks to video game logic, you get experience for pretty much existing. This means that you can level up, which in turn grants you stats and technology points. More on those in a second, but what I would like to discuss beforehand is how you actually gain XP in this game. Now, like I said, you get XP for pretty much doing anything.
Better scramble like an egg before you get folded like an omelet, nigga.
From crafting to exploring or eliminating enemies or wild pals. The game has a total of 50 levels for you to grind through, and you can be sure that it will be worth every single employee. Every time you level up, you will be given one stat point which you can use to increase your health, stamina, attack power, work efficiency, or carry weight. Not much to explain here. Health increases your overall damage intake before collapsing and ceasing to live. Stamina increases the time you can sanic around the map, attack, or jump. Attack power makes your attacks deal more damage, and work efficiency makes you craft and build faster. Now, as for carry weight, it lets you carry a bigger load. Big old loads can be carried.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
We have technology.
Another means of progression after gaining a level is the technology tree. This allows you to unlock new crafting and building recipes that you can use to advance the quality of your equipment, better your pals, as well as new building sets that you can use to grant passive buffs to your pals. Beating bosses awards ancient technology points that can be used to unlock even more advanced recipes. You can also gain regular technology points by unlocking fast travel points or reading books, because reading makes you learn things, I guess. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Shout out to all my teachers out there. In order to craft, you will need a primitive workbench, which can be made from just 2 wooden sticks. This will allow you to start crafting some basic equipment like clothing, a pickaxe, an axe, a club, and the pal sphere, which will allow you to begin capturing your future assets. As you progress through the game, you will need to use different types of workbenches for more specific, niche, or advanced items. So it's really about the knowledge. Like most survival games, you can have multiple bases to expand your industrial output. This will allow you to have a proper house, or castle, or ranch. It will also provide a place to produce food items and breed pals, while also giving you a fast travel point along with a way to manage the pals in your party. Switch them out, heal them if they're, knocked unconscious.
Oh! He needs some milk!
Fairly common occurrence in this world where they have a mammoth that is throwing the sun at you, but that'll be a topic of discussion for another video. Overall, bases are a great way to enhance your experience and store all the items you will be coming across on your adventure. And whether it's a labor camp or a cozy home, it's always good to have a place to come back to. Emphasis on the labor camp. You'll need a few of those. You gotta build stuff. You need to have your pals working overtime. No pay, just food.
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
Now on to the main attraction, and the reason you're probably still here. Subscribe for more, by the way. On your journey, you will find over 100 pals, animal-like creatures with incredible abilities. Said animals and their abilities can be put to good use under your capitalistic or militaristic rule. They can be made to produce anything from berries and medicines to rocket launchers and shotguns. There are a great variety of them, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, which I will be sure to cover. But for now, what you need to know is that PALs are found in the wild, can be captured using PAL spheres once they are weakened by taking enough damage, and can be deployed to your base to help crafting, farming, breeding, or building. PALs possess element types, which determine their effectiveness against other PALs. This graph that I will be showing on screen right now displays which element is best suited to counter other elements. Be sure to use the right PAL for the right job, whether it be cooking or battling. Combat is pretty simple in the beginning, since you'll mostly be using melee weapons. It would be wise to learn how to properly dodge and read attack patterns though. And once you start using projectile weapons, the game gets a lot easier to work with. By that I mean that they start getting angrier. Of course, if you find yourself having trouble with these encounters, you might want to try adjusting your save settings to make the game slightly easier to suit your own skill or playstyle. No shame in it. That should cover everything you'll need to know to start your adventures on Papago's Island. Hopefully you learned something useful. If there was anything I missed or that I didn't mention that would be of some use to a beginner, leave a comment. That is all for this video. Have a good one and bye.
Wait, you can capture it?
Capture anybody. Got him. He died. Brett.
Wait.
You got him. He died.